um, Lost in Translation was talking about becoming one, and I think that becoming one means that you got to shed pieces of yourself. And I think in that shedding process, that hurt, right? And I think if you've been in a position where you've been shielding yourself from hurt, and then you get into marriage and you realize you got to make changes, right? That's I think that's a grimy thing to face, is that change, like having to change, or better yet, like somebody revealing to you there's a grimy part of you, right? And it's like not willing to even face that. So because you don't want to face the reality that you ain't all that, like you don't have it all together. That pride and that fear will then force you in the other direction. So I that coming to one, like I think that change process as they're changing for each other. So there's changing, but I think sometimes people harden themselves, and in that hardening process, like they think they're changing for the better, but it's like no, you are hardening because you don't want to change, and in that you may end up making a relationship worse. But then in that relationships, you have to consistently, in my opinion, change for each other, but not just any change, like change for the better, because you're serving each other. So whenever you have that serve, oh, I'm gonna be a servant or I'm gonna be a slave, like there's a difference, right? Like you signed up for this, right? Slavery, like you didn't sign up for it. Like being a servant, though, you signed up for that. So you have to, again, know your role, and that's on both sides. We should be, as for the coming to one, are coming to one to serve each other.
That's good. Hey, Anthony, Alicia, I saw y'all sit up. Who got something they want to say?
No, I was just getting some water, but
Listen, when you sit up, bro, hey,
and no, it's all good.
what you think? Go ahead. What do y'all think? Either based on what's being said or either the clip that was shown.
Oh, the clip is the truth. I agree with the clip.
Tell me
I agree
why.
with what he said because um, I had seen a post that says, "Beware of people. Beware of how people treat you when they're at their highest." You know, and I was like, that is very very important. But then I was like, what about when they're at their lowest? Can she still love him with grace when she's not feeling herself? Can she still give that love when she's not feeling like I got it, I'm 100? Can she do that when they're both broken at the same time? When he really desperately needs that, can she find that within herself to give that to him? You know, um, we've been in situations like that. Recently, I had a time, but it was a day where I just was not feeling it. And no matter what I tried to do, I couldn't get out of it. It was something spiritually on me, and she recognized that. She knew it. She was like, "Look, just lean on me. I'm here. I'm here." And I didn't know what she was going through because I was so caught up in my own shit to even ask her, "Are you okay?" But she was like, "I'm here for you." And she gave me space that day. She took the kids out, and she was like, when she got back, she let me know again, "I'm here. Lean on me." And at that moment is like, I didn't say I snapped out of it, but it eased the process of me coming back and getting back present to where we could be harmonious versus me just like being in a funk and keeping myself there because I'm the only one that can keep me there. It was nothing that she did. She's doing nothing but try to help. So yeah, I truly believe that, you can love a man with grace where he needs to be, meet him where he's at, but can you find that still within yourself when you're not feeling it?
Yeah. Did you want to say something, Miss Alicia?
Um, I I do believe that women. There was something that I read. It was years ago. Um, Somebody asked Oprah why she wasn't married or why she didn't want to get married or something like that, and she said because being a wife is a responsibility. Like that's different than just being a girlfriend or a longtime girlfriend. it's a responsibility. I have a responsibility to this man. Like if anything happens to him, I'm the first person that they are going to look for, that they're going to contact. Is he married? Okay, that's who we need to talk to above anybody else. Kid, mom, is your spouse. So for somebody to entrust that, like to say, I want to marry, you, that's deep. Like that's not something to be taken lightly. Like whenever happens to me, this is the person, that is responsible. So in that, and of course that's like a extreme situation, but just throughout life you have to carry that, like through a marriage. I'm responsible for him, so I'm responsible for making sure that he's okay, that he has what he needs, and vice versa. So it's like we can kind of feel if, hey, you know what, I got about 50% energy today. All right, baby. You know what I'm saying? I got you. I got you. And it just goes, back and forth. Like you have to have that. So I think like if there is a fear of being married, is because it is a great responsibility and it can't be taken lightly.
That's really good. That's really good. It cannot be taken lightly. I think y'all kind of land on the same path of that. The fear is the responsibility, and if you think about it from a position of a job description, right? You go down the job description. Prototype talks about the company, right? So if I'm saying that I want to be married, then I got to look at what the job description is. And in some regard, as we're talking about women, we'll talk about men in just a moment. What you all are saying is that they go down this job description and they don't see how they can fit this job description. So they would rather remain jobless or find a different way of being in a relationship outside of being married. Interesting. So that means that you probably need to go get some more qualifications, right? If I want this job, then I need to look and see these qualifications of what it is to be a wife. And I need to either go to counseling, I either need to go read some books, I either need to be around some people that are also trying to pursue what it is that I'm trying to pursue. I need to stay away from dudes that's not operating from a marriage perspective. I need to stay away from girls or women that are not thinking marriage minded. Like I gotta clear out a lot of things in order to get to the job. Is what is the goal. That's what I'm hearing, and that's a really good spot. So I want to transition to then why do men why are men afraid of divorce? So we got the part where women are afraid to be married. I want to talk about why do men fear divorce, and we'll start with Mr. Prototype.
Um, it depends on the man for real, but I would say a lot of men get married because they didn't have many options to go outside for real. They didn't have fun outside, and it's being it's a lonely life. So there's some guys that are afraid to be alone. You know what I mean? I've seen it both sides where some dudes get divorced and it's like, yo, best decision I ever made. And then on the flip side, it's like, oh, I'm losing half my stuff, or I'm gonna be lonely, or I'm depressed. I don't know. It depends on the guy. I wouldn't say that's a general thing. Guys are afraid of divorce. I would say that guys with no options are afraid of divorce. But for guys who have options, I think they see it as a joyous time. You know what I mean? So that's kind of how I look at it.
So just around about what you're saying is that men that have options are not afraid to be divorced,
Nah.
even though the dudes that get married that have options typically don't get divorced. Because
Point.
the woman is the one that's initiating the divorce?
That's a skewed thing too, right? Because men will
So
give you
skewed.
it's men will give you a very, we don't necessarily, like, if a man leaves you, you're terrible. We don't leave. We just give you the very least of ourselves to where, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, men treat girls bad just to make them leave, and then girls just put up with the abuse. And we're like, dang, you still putting up with this abuse? Why are you let
I'm
me
not
treat you like that?
disagreeing with that minutia of a point,
So,
right? If you look at what the data says of why they
but
leave,
they're pushing girls to divorce them.
if you go look and see why women are leaving, is one, I can see what you said, infidelity, right? The other one is communication. The other one is finances. Those are
Listen,
the top three.
every man don't cheat, right?
I know.
It's
The
so it's
majority of men don't cheat.
here's what I'm saying, right? I had a prior situation where I was engaged, and in that I knew I wasn't going to be happy, and I was like, well, she don't deserve my best. I'll just work in the warehouse and give her the minimal of me. But I seen that as too depressing of a life. So men will do that. They'll give you a shell of themselves, and they won't communicate. They'll sit on the couch. They'll get fat. It'll just be a lifeless situation, and just wait for the woman to leave. And if she never leaves, then that's just they will sit in misery. You understand what I'm saying? So not all men will go outside. Some men will just become a shell, and that's miserable too.
I agree with what you're saying. I'm just saying, but the majority of the situation, those things do happen, but the majority of the things, think about it for a moment. If women are filing, then they have to give a reason. Okay, it's like, I mean, I haven't been divorced or nothing like that, but in order to get that information, the woman had to have said the reason of why there is a divorce. And their number one thing was infidelity, money, and communication. And one of the finances would probably have to do with could have gotten better, right? Communication could have gotten better as well. But as it relates to infidelity, that doesn't even happen as a high of a clip as being stated, because the majority of dudes, like 75% of dudes, is being faithful, just period.
But if he doesn't want to give you that, if he
Right. But if
becomes a
he
shell
doesn't
of
want to,
himself,
what's the shell of it? So you talking about not communicating?
he won't communicate. He won't press on. He'll do the very minimum at work. He won't make more money because he feels she don't deserve that version of him. So
Okay.
if there's that, if I feel like I'm with a woman that don't deserve who I am, who
Yeah.
I could be, then I'm only going to give you. I'm gonna work at the grocery store, stocking shelves at night, and do the very minimum. I won't be a good dad. I won't be a good husband. I'll be married, but I'll be a shell of who I really could be. I wouldn't be tapping into any of my potential.
I feel you. Let's get some other people in here. Who you want to get next?
Let's go with Loss.
Uh-oh.
You know, I've been waiting on this one. I didn't get a chance to touch on the other one, but I'm gonna transition into this one. The reason why men afraid of divorce is because women aren't who they say they were, and I'll give you an example. There's Anthony and Alicia can probably speak to this if I'm not mistaken. There's a certain level that you get to with your partner where you can no longer hide who you really are. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times people like to get into relationships and hide who they really are instead of actually showing that person who they are, because they're afraid that if they find out who they really are, they may not love them. And inside of that love, you know what I mean, is a place where it's a place where you get to be vulnerable. You see what I'm saying? And that love is where security is. But the problem is that we rarely get to that place where I can say, hey, this is who I really am. And now it's up to that other person to love you regardless of who you are. So when you get to that particular point where you're vulnerable, saying, hey, I'm going to choose to love you in spite of, I'm going to choose to love you because of who you are, not because of what you've done, that type of thing. Is because I choose to love you regardless of who you are. If you can get to that point, that is where security is. But the problem is many couples never get to that point. It's like, it speaks to what Prototype said. He didn't feel comfortable sharing who he was with that woman because of whatever past presentation she did of herself or how she's handled a particular situation in the past. So he's just said, you know what? I'm just going to take my hands off the wheel, and whatever happens, happens. But the problem with that is that you never really get a chance to allow that other person to love you past who you are, because that's where the magic happens. As you can tell, look how they're looking. They'll tell you at some point there's in your relationship, in your marriage, where you can no longer hide who you are. You can't hide from each other. You see what I'm saying? This is who I am. And if at that point they choose to love you, that's when that level of love is really unlocked. And I think the problem is that we have a problem where we're not being vulnerable enough soon enough so that person can make a judgment. You see what I'm saying? Because there's always this fear, as if I show this person who I really am, they may not love me. And it factors into that security part, which actually activates the real love in a relationship. Anthony and Alicia, is that not correct?
Yeah, it's definitely correct. Definitely correct. That vulnerability is really, in my case, that's all I really wanted to do, was, have a woman that I could be vulnerable with. I was actually in the position that Prototype was speaking of, but I didn't stay. I couldn't stay because, like Loss was saying, you can't hide from you. You can't hide that. In that previous relationship, I could no longer hide from myself. Hey, man, I'm not happy. This ain't working. So I couldn't just stay and sit. And we had a child together. So I told her, I said, look, man, I'm not going to be able to give you 100%. I know you're not giving me 100% because I know what's going on. I'm not going to be able to give you 100, and it's not going to work. And we can't stay together for the sake of the child because it's going to break her. It's not going to be healthy. So I'm going to leave because me being unhappy is going to tear all this shit up. So I'd rather go, and maybe you can find some happiness and some love within you, but I got to get out of here because I love me more, because I'm not going to put myself through that. You know what I'm saying? And once we connected and she met me where I was at, like I was on my ass at my lowest. There was nothing for me to front for. So she seen me at my bottom and she still loved me through that. And I had this wall up because before she came around, I was prepared to be alone. I was making preparations in my life to just be a gigolo. Straight up. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna send her some money. Like I was gonna send my daughter's mother money. I'll take care of my kid, but I'm out here and I don't need a wife. And I was prepared for that. But a lot of men don't have that conversation with themselves. Like, people came to our wedding to see if I was getting married. My mother told us, like, I didn't think he was ever gonna get married. It was real shit. I was not playing that game. You know what I'm saying? I was out hard cold. Like, this is where I'm at. This is what I'm doing. But luckily, God had different plans for me. And now we're here talking to y'all.
How long y'all been married? Is it 8?
It'll be 8, July 23rd.
Look at me remembering. That's what's up. Good job. That's what's up. Shout out to y'all. So you were afraid. So do you want to add to that, Alicia?
Add to what?
You came into the point of where he was afraid to be married, but you transitioned it for him to visualize he could be married. Like, that's a crazy 180. Can you speak to that?
Yeah. Because when we reconnected, I say reconnected because I knew him in high school. But we didn't date in high school. We was just cool. So years later, when I saw him again on Facebook and we reconnected, we just never stopped talking. So I did. He seemed like a bachelor. He was like a hard bachelor. However, I never put the expectation on him. You know, like I never was like, yeah, so because for one, I was divorced. I had been divorced from my first husband, so I wasn't like, okay, let me be in a rush to do this again. I wasn't. I really genuinely just wanted to get to know somebody. And he just was really cool. He was very authentic, very solid, even though he was going through what he was going through. So as time progressed, he showed me that he was taking this seriously. I didn't ask, or I wasn't like pressuring him. There were some things that he was used to doing that he just stopped doing. He decided, okay, I can't do that and be serious with you. So he just stopped. He made moves and signs and signals that I am taking this relationship seriously. And when he decided to propose, he proposed. But it, that might have been a long time for somebody else, or for another woman. It just was never a pressure thing. But within deep down, I knew that he was going to marry me. Like I knew that. I just kind of knew this ain't going to carry on for 10 years. Like, so I can't really explain it, but that's how it went.
So when y'all had the conversation, did he tell you that he didn't really want to be married? Was that a conversation, or that was just something, Anthony, you just had in the back of your mind?
I don't think it wasn't that. It wasn't even that I was afraid of marriage. It's just I've always wanted to be married since I was a child. I didn't grow up in that environment, so this life that I'm living now was a dream to me because I didn't see that at all. You know what I'm saying? So I attracted it. I always wanted to be married, regardless of me man whoring, whatever I was doing. It was there, but I was prepared for it not to happen if it didn't happen. You know what I'm saying? That's all it was. It was like, look, I'm just gonna live this life, and there will be no commitments. Look, what are we doing? Because that's how I was as a bachelor. Like, are we getting to it or are we not? Because I don't have time to be talking to you or you playing. Look, man, I got somebody else I could be calling right now. You wasting time. It was really like that. So yeah, a lot of people got cut off. It was cold. You know what I'm saying?
So what made her be the one to cut off everybody? Now, this is my transition, right? So I'm asking the question because I want women to hear the things that they probably are not hearing. Because if you leave it to a lot of women, they will say that there is not good men out here to be able to choose from. You feel me? Right? So, but here is an individual. I'll set it up like this. Here's a man that is saying that I'm cool with being a bachelor to the day that I rest. However, here comes along a woman that changes the dynamic of my thinking to be like, oh, I see that I'm not going to have to do what I thought I was going to do, and I can achieve the dream that I had once thought about as a youngster. Can you help us out with that?
It was just like a natural progression. I'll liken it to this. Like, I used to drink a lot of Pepsi, a lot of soda, and never understood why I was thirsty all the time. Because I didn't have any water going into my system. So as I began to work this job at General Motors, I'm working, but I'm always thirsty. So once I cut the soda out, now I'm drinking water more. Now I'm actually losing weight, but it just happened. I just got tired of being thirsty. So it was organic between us, so she started showing me, because I picked up, like, when you a bachelor and you dealing with a lot of women, you pick up on shit. So she was doing everything the opposite of what these other women was doing. So I was seeing that. And I also told my daughter's mother, once we were, you know, splitting everything, we trying to figure it out. I was like, I'm not going to be with a woman that's not going to be able to love my child like I love my child. And nobody met my child. Like throughout all the women I was dealing with, nobody ever seen her. My child only knows her mother and her. And so once my wife came into the picture and they did meet and she built a relationship with her and I seen that she really, really loves her. So I'm like, oh man, this is it. Like why fight it? You know what I'm saying? It just flowed. Even getting the ring, it just flowed. Like I didn't have any anxiety about any of that. So it was just an organic process. That's all.
She organically gave you peace.
There you go.
Like.
Because I had no peace.
Yeah.
I had no peace in my life. You know, so much it was ugly.
I appreciate the transparency. And I know other people haven't gone yet. So if you can get who y'all want to go next?
Jamie.
Let's go, Jamie. Why are men afraid of divorce?
So I'm learning right now too, but I always thought it was failure, like the fear of failing or losing. Because, you know, I always like to say men are taught more, they play sports, and losing, even if it's a marriage that you don't want to be in, kind of sucks. And that's just what I always thought. So I'm learning different things here. And I may be wrong, but I always just attributed it to be failure or the fear of failing and not liking to lose, even if it's probably something you didn't want. It's something that you signed up for, and nobody likes to lose. You know what I'm saying? So that's Ash. Did Ash go? Did you go?
No, but to answer your question, that's a good point. That's similar to what Prototype was saying, that women don't want to lose. That's why they don't like the marriage. They don't want to compete. So that's a fear for sure. Go ahead, Ash.
I guess I could say quitting, because that's always my thing. They don't want to quit. You know, they rather, like Prototype was saying, they rather for the woman to just walk out. So it's like, I did initiate it. I did what I did. I did what I could. She wanted to leave. I'm gonna leave it right there, because I don't like to quit. Like if I really have to break up with you, I have to introduce you with everybody, I'm gonna be very upset, be very hostile. And that's how I take that. You know, but I really feel like it's like, dang, if she leave, it's all right, because I did what I did. I gave it the good old try. That's her problem. It's her. And like I said, 99.9% of the time I'm wrong.
Who you got? I don't think you said that you was wrong tonight, just by the way.
I told y'all go see it. Dwayne, you ain't went, right?
No, not yet. But I like the reverse psychology, though. I like what you did there. My goodness, that's like, you know, I'm right. Oh man. But yeah, I'll put it like this. I wrote down keywords I heard y'all say was vulnerability, and marriage is all about vulnerability. So why are men afraid of divorce? Failure, right? If you're a man and you commit to something, there's a difference between failing and quitting. And I'm glad that both y'all said that. One said failure and one said quit. Man, there is a difference. There's a difference. Quitting is something you do voluntarily. Failure, there's many circumstances that might surround that may not even involve you. So in that, I look at it from that standpoint. It's like, yeah, failure is involved in it, but then that's the risk we take, and that's a part of that vulnerability. In that, we're taking a risk on choosing you. So once we make that choice, guess what? Why would we make it easy for ourselves to back out? Because we don't like to fail. We don't like to quit. And in that, it's like those are two things that, right, once we focus on what's really at hand, it's like we are problem solvers. So guess what? Any obstacles that may come up, like if we are good men, if we're about that business, we're gonna make every effort in order to salvage whatever may come trying to damage it, right? So I just look at it from that point. But I also want to add this: people come into marriages with masks on, right? And the thing about it is like we don't realize that it's a front. Take that mask off, be vulnerable, and let's work with what we got. Let's work with what we got instead of trying to fabricate some BS, because it's much you could do so much more with the truth than with a lie. And that's all that mask and fabrication does. So I can carry on. My bad.
Anybody got something to add to what? Go ahead.
I was gonna say character, but it didn't line in this, so I wasn't gonna get it. But I agree with Dwayne on that one. You know, he got a little riled up with us on what that.
He did get a little riled up.
But I would say yes, because I was thinking about this earlier. It's like reason why most of our relationships fail. I'm just gonna speak from me. Really, is that people think that I'm putting on a front. No, this is what life has brought me to be. This is how I conduct myself. And I feel like I track characters. Like you feel like I want this type, but you haven't got to know what I actually want. You're portraying what you think, and that's not right. Like get to know what I want, and then we can see if we can work with it. But if you're putting on a character, you're going to always feel what tired, unappreciated, because I'm loving the character that you put forth. I'm not loving you. I'm loving this character that you're saying you are. And like you say, down the line, you'll get tired. That mask, that characterization, all of all them good filters gonna come off. You're gonna move and they're gonna come. And I'm gonna see who you are, you know. And I was just like I said, I really was just thinking about this earlier. Like people don't date genuine no more. It's like we gotta put on, like they say, women put all the hair on, the nails, the lashes, and all this and go out in this character to attract what she thinks she wants. But again, you're not going out being, as I said, a couple podcasts ago, naked. Go out, be your actual genuine self. Then you may get some better results. That's why I say I cannot never say that there's not good men out there. Because why? I know some good men. Hey, I just didn't pick one of them. Hey, that's my bad. But at the same time, I'm not going to sit here and bash every man just because I done had a little bad luck. I have to learn how to not fall in love with that character, that avatar that comes first. You know, you got to see beyond that, because my dark days is not always I'm having trouble on the bus. Maybe it's I'm broke. Maybe it's I can't go get my lobster and shrimp to cook for these kids today. You know, maybe it's something more simple that I'm blowing out of proportion. Maybe I'm just having one of them womanly days where I'm just everything is just a mess and I can't deal today. Okay, maybe I just need a little drink and then I can calm down. But you got to be able to come in, come in and be able to assess the situation. Because sometimes, because Lost in Translation done said this, sometimes I just want to be heard. I don't need you to fix. I just want you to hear it. So I can hear what I actually need to do to fix this myself, because it's not a problem for you to fix. It's something for me to fix, And I'm going to stop acting like Dwayne right now. Y'all got it.
Oh my goodness. What did I do to you?
Well, you know that
it's just your turn to be picked on. That's all. We all get a turn. So I'm back with a vengeance. I'll fight night.
That's what's up. Hey, did everybody get to say what they wanted to say on this particular?
You know what? I'm actually go ahead and jump on back in here.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. But back to that mask thing and the vulnerability, it is so. Somebody made a point about men don't wear makeup, women do. And it's like, why do women wear makeup? Why is it that women wear makeup? And but then it's like, I want to love you for who you are. Why are you covering up who you are? And sometimes, again, that mask really covers up who you are, and then it throws off a signal. So sometimes women will say that, hey, I married you, and you're not who I thought you were. And it's like, cue the mirrors. Cue the mirrors. Somebody cue the mirrors, okay? Because it's like, hey, it could be a two-way street, but it's like, I think even from what Jamie said earlier about that environment, let's be real. I'm so sorry to do this, but men's idea of marriage, where do they get that from? Women's idea of marriage, Where do they get that from? Which one is grounded in reality? And I'm saying it from the majority of people that get their idea of marriage from the media, from the extra from and it's all about glitz and glamour and you make me happy and all these things. And I'm like, that's not what it's about. Because if it's about happy wife, happy life, what about the man? What about the man that's for the act of the service? So that's I'm gonna fall back on that one. My bad. But I was just curious about those things.
Did you have a question, or was you were just making a statement?
No, it's like, yeah,
Like
societal versus like men grooming. So like, in the same thing with the makeup. That's it. Are we doing a service as our society as for preparing women for marriage? Like, it's a fairy tale.
why would they do that?
Well,
They're
that's a
preparing
good
women for
question.
Marriage. Marriage
That's the
does
question.
not provide the society the goal that they want to reach. If you separate us, we are weaker. If we're together and we're stronger, why would they want us to be strong? And so if we could get, I'm gonna say, if I can get individuals to understand that marriage is a building block and it's something that is a part of bringing the community together, and it's also ordained by God. Like, how is it that you say you're a believer in God? We saw the solar eclipse today. Like, I don't understand how people just gonna be like, yeah, that just happened. You know what I'm saying? Like if you witnessed that and was like, I still just don't see how God could exist. I just really think something wrong with you personally, but that's just me. I'm just saying that for men that are afraid of divorce, you're already going at it wrong. Because as we talked about in the beginning, what fear looks like, there's a healthy fear, right? Everything that you're going to do has a rate of failure to it, but it also is an opportunity to succeed. Married men do better than single men as it relates to health, finances, emotional stability. And then when you're married, your kids are is different living in a marriage than when they're just living together. Like the study shows that just because you living with the person that you created a life with, don't make it better for that kid, because the kid is still going to have the mental the going to have a weaker mind to say, you know what, like there's an instability here. Like, what do I do with this? When you are married, man, and you're doing well to her, it's not always going to be great, but God honors you because you're doing what you're supposed to do. Now, I can't talk to the person that doesn't believe in God. I'm talking to the person that says that they're a believer in God and they want to live in that space. Of course, you got to vet, and that's hard to vet if there's masks being worn. That's on both sides. But I would say, as a man that is following God and trying to live a life in such a way, then how you serve your wife, you'll see something totally different. I'll challenge people to read the book Fireproof. Can't think of the guy's name. Michael Key, I think it was Michael Seaver that was on Growing Pains. What's his name? Can't think of his name. But he wrote a book called Fireproof. It's a movie as well. And in the book, it's referring to how to serve your spouse, even when you feel like they don't deserve it. Right? Because God serves us on a regular basis, and we don't deserve it at all. The grace or the mercy that he provides to us. So I think that it's important for people that are saying that they're believers to get into the Bible. You can check out Ephesians for sure. You know what I'm saying? Get you some of that Song of Solomon. Anybody read that? Go check that out. That's that intimacy right there, bro. And just understand that there's going to be hills and valleys, but your attitude is what determines how you maneuver through those hills and valleys. And I appreciate everybody that comes on the platform and provides their take, because I learn as well from you all. And the more that we are on the same page and trying to get to the same destination, I think that we'll reach more people than people are expecting to. So before we get out of here, you know what I'm saying? All those that's watching, make sure you go like, share, subscribe to the channel. We're growing. I think we had 1,042 right now, something like that. So appreciate y'all, you know what I'm saying? And we're just gonna continue to do some things that people don't think can be done. And I can't do that without my panelists. So give it up for them. I appreciate y'all for sure. Does anybody have anything to say before we get out of here? Prototype, you had some things to do. So, you want to have something to say before we get out?
No, I'm good, man. Be blessed.
Oh yeah. And where can they tell them about when the show? And then what is it?
Tuesday nights on YouTube. We post our clips on Instagram, the Prototype Kingdom podcast. YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, all platforms, man. Holla at us.
That's what's up, man. And it's dope when you can get people together to talk about some positive things, and it's not yelling going on, and we can actually listen and hear and be productive. So without any more talking, I want to appreciate everybody. And until next time, we out here. Deuces.
The boy is dangerous.
Bad feeling about this. You don't seem to understand something.
The thing that I like most about being a dad is that I see that I'm about to impact the world.